Hi, in today's video I'm gonna show you Rastoke, a place which I've visited 10 or more times. Rastoke is located 30 kilometers from Plitvice Lakes, and it's often referred to as Little Plitvice. The place is just amazing, so let me take you around in the town. We just arrived at Rastoke from Zagreb and parked our car. This is the scenery we were greeted with. I would say not bad at all. Today we are going to show you two options you have when visiting Rastoke. One is the free tour around the village, and the other is a tour to the center of the village where you will have to pay an entrance fee of €8 per person. Both tours will give you views on the waterfall and amazing scenery. Of course, the central area of the village has some additional highlights, as you will see in our video. The map here shows Rastoke. As you can see, the village is basically water and a lot of small islets. When visiting Rastoke, you don't have to cross this wooden bridge like this car is doing. There's plenty of areas around where you can park, and then basically you have maybe 500 to maximum a kilometer walk to get down to the village itself. As you can see in the part we are walking now, there are several coffee bars and restaurants, so if you want to eat around Rastoke, this is definitely possible. There's lots of nice places where you can have a decent lunch. The houses you see in Rastoke basically most of them are inhabited. Some are used as rentals, so you can actually rent apartments inside Rastoke if you like to sleep in a place where the sound of water will not disturb your sleep. On the map I show you now, you can basically see I've marked the green route around, and that is basically the free route you can take around Rastoke, where you will see a lot of waterfalls, you will see a lot of the nice stuff which the village has to offer, but you simply don't get to the central part. So if you want to save the €8 entrance, I would recommend you to do this tour. It's definitely beautiful and you get a good impression of the whole village, so this is for sure an option. So the people who are going to the right here are the ones who's going to the central part, and people who stick to the left are the ones like us who are taking a trip around the village. While we are walking around Rastoke, I will tell you a bit about the place, why it is like it is. So basically, Rastoke is the place where the Slunčica River and the Corona River flows together. The Slunčica River comes from a higher elevated place, and basically when it basically flows into the area of Rastoke, it basically splits into many small streams which flows over all the limestone, and basically later flows or via the waterfall goes into the Corona River. The water was the main reason why Rastoke became an important village back in the days. Of course, the water was used to operating water mills. In total there was 22 water wells in Rastoke. Most of them were used for grinding various types of corn, and some of them were used to create a type of a washing machine which were used in those days because they were also working with textiles in the area. And of course, with the water power, you could create a kind of a tumble which would basically throw the linen or the clothes around and act on the same principle as washing machines we know today. Some interesting facts about the two rivers. The Slunčica River actually surfaces not far from the city of Slun. So, and before that basically it runs in the mountain, and due to this the temperature of Slunčica is quite low in the winter, around 7 degrees, and in the summer maximum 16 degrees, whereas the Corona River would reach up to 28 degrees. activities in the summer season. So if you decide to go swimming, do it in the Corona River. As you can see here, rafting is something which is done on the river. You have other things like canyoning, you can do fishing, and as I said, swimming in the river. So lots of outside activities is offered here in the region. And due to the proximity to Plitvice Lakes, it's of course ideal if you combine your visit to Plitvice Lakes with a visit to Rastocke, or the other way around. I would definitely recommend visiting both when you're in the area. As you maybe have noticed, we have now completed the trip around Rastocke, basically the free tour, and we are now walking to the place where you have to pay the entrance fee, or basically where you can enter the central parts of Rastocke. As I mentioned, the first time we passed this place, if you go to the right, you basically go down to the entrance to the central part of Rastocke, which we are doing now. And as you can see, when we get down here, it looks quite neat. The entrance gate look very nice. And you basically, when you go in here a little bit further, you see the houses where the people are standing, and that's basically where you pay the entrance fee. In addition to the prices I just listed on the screen, you also have the option to buy a family ticket for 3 persons, which is 2 adults with 1 child, and a family ticket for 4 persons, 2 adults plus 2 children, which in either case would give you a smaller discount. Also good to know, with the entrance ticket you are basically going to get a map over the central part of Rastocke, so you basically can see the different things which you can go around and have a look at. As you probably saw, we were just inside one of the buildings with a mill, and now we are basically walking down through the gardens, and the houses you see here, most of them basically have accommodation units. So if you want to stay really in the center of Rastocke, this is definitely possible. And here we are getting down to another place which also have a mill. When we get a little bit further, you will see the mill wheel here, you know, where the water would basically drive the wheel around and generate, basically you could say, the power for crushing or grinding the corn. Now we are walking in what they call the fairy garden. Here you have 12 fairies in different places. 3 of them we just passed. And when you walk around here, you find various things. For instance, a nice big swing which you can try out. And of course, just walk around and enjoy how nicely the garden is put up. And then we come to the very interesting place, the entrance to the cave. The cave and the canyon is definitely something you should go and check out, but I would definitely not recommend going down here. As you will see from the footage, the stairs are not super wide, and it can be really slippy down there due to the water, so make sure you have good footwear. And I think also for kids, if they are not too well, smaller kids, it might be a bit tricky to get down there, but definitely worth a while going down and checking out the cave, going through the cave and seeing the canyon on the other side. After getting back up from the cave, basically it was time to have a look at the museum. And the museum basically shows you how people lived, the artifacts they had in their houses at that time, the furnitures, and also how their clothing looked like and how they produced their clothes, basically the devices they used for that. While we walk around and have a look at some of the waterfalls and some of the other nice things you find in Rastocke, I would basically one more time explain regarding visiting Rastocke. You can do that together with a visit to Plitvice Lakes. I think it is possible to do in one day if you arrive early at one of the points. So that's definitely an option. Alternatively, if you stay overnight in the area of Plitvice, you can also stay here in Slune or Rastoke, and then use one day to explore Plitvice and the other day to see Rastoke, and maybe also to see generally the area around Slune, which has more to offer than only Rastoke. There's an old fortress, and there's a lot of hiking trails, and basically the nature is very beautiful in the area. And of course, there's also good places to eat here, and because of the two rivers, something like trout is of course something which is very popular in the area and definitely fresh. There's basically no time limit on how long time you can spend here in the garden in Rastoke. I would say, if you walk around slowly and have a look at everything, you would probably need 1 hour in here, 1.5 hours. And if you do both tours, like we did, the free tour around Rastoke and also the central tour, you probably would need a total of 2.5 hours to do both. There's basically 3 main waterfalls where the Sluntsica River runs into the Korana River, and the name of the tree is, the biggest one is called Buk, because of all the noise it makes. The second larger waterfall is called Hørvøy, and that's basically named after a man called Hørvøy who used to jump from it, jump into the waterfall. And the last of the 3 big waterfalls is called Vilina Kosha, which means basically fairy air. And all 3 of them you can see from the central part of Rastoke, or you can also see them if you do the free tour around. Yeah, that was basically it. That was what I had to show you from Rastoke. Hope you liked the video, and hope I gave you appetite on visiting this wonderful place. When we left on the day we visited, we had an extra show. As you can see here, when we came back, walked back towards our car, one guy was actually walking on a line from somewhere further up the river and down to the bridge. And as you can see at the end, he basically managed to get over. Hope you enjoyed our video. Please give it a like, please subscribe to our channel, and basically till the next one.